is a world of startling splendors, a world of beauty and apparel, a world that captivates us with its charms and lures us with the promise of adventure. It is a world of mystery and menace, a world that beckons all who seek excitement and discovery. It is the home of the breathtaking and the bewitching, the home of the hidden, the enchanted, the unknown. Alluring, captivating, it calls us all, inviting us to cross the line between the world we know and the other world that waits beyond the shore. Join us on a journey into a world of wonder and excitement. Join us on a dive to adventure. In all of the sea, there are no denizens that inspire in man as much fear or as much fascination. Creatures of mystery, they arouse human dread by the very mention of their name. Sharks. To many, the ultimate symbols of horror, the very essence of savagery in the sea. Cold-blooded, primitive, they have been called the quintessential killing machines. And woe to anyone who dares to cross their path, or even worse, to invite their wrath. But are the sharks merely mouths and muscle, blind and brutal killers intent upon devouring anything, animal or human, that comes their way? Ask almost anyone, and they will say yes. And with good reason, it seems. For almost everything we hear about sharks seems to reinforce their reputation as unfeeling instruments of terror, the nemesis of man in the sea. Much of the bad press the sharks have picked up is the legacy of the legions of Hollywood films which have portrayed the fish as bloodthirsty man-eaters, monsters with an insatiable lust for human flesh. But how much of this horror story is merely Hollywood hype? Sharks have always been shrouded in myth and mystery. Sleek, silent, and secretive in their ways, they rule a world that we know little about. Perhaps it is precisely because we know so little about them that we continue to fear them so deeply. Lords of their watery domain, they elude our efforts to understand them or to control them. And as the living symbols of all that is untamed and free, they challenge our own claims to be the masters of the sea. Throughout history, men and sharks have been at each other's throats, and popular lore and legend has always portrayed the shark as a predator and man as his helpless victim. What we do know about the sharks contradicts most of the rumors about them handed down over the years. While all sharks are carnivores, the blue shark, for one, is rarely a bother to man. Of the 250 species of sharks, only a few, like the hammerhead, are considered to be dangerous to humans. A powerful shark that patrols tropical waters, it has occasionally killed a careless diver. The mako, by contrast, is built for speed, an expert at running down swordfish and mackerel. And then there is the angel shark, a sluggish fish of the ocean floor and a skillful hunter of crabs and mollusks. A shark, to be sure, but hardly a man-eater. At the other extreme, the whale shark, at a maximum length of 60 feet, the biggest fish in the sea. Far from a danger to man, the whale shark even tolerates hitchhikers. Gentle and docile by nature, the great shark responds with seeming indifference to human attention, taking its passenger for a free ride as it cruises the shallows, its wide mouth agape to filter tiny floating zooplankton from the sea. Could this be the terror of the deep we've heard so much about? Far from it. Even fish have no cause to fear the whale shark. Clearly, in the world of the sea, appearances can be deceiving. The unicorn fish, with its long needle nose, might appear lethal at first, but the snout is all for show. Though the lionfish, on the other hand, is graceful and alluring, it bristles with poisonous spines, and divers have been badly stung when they have attempted to handle it. Bony fish, like the barracuda, are believed to be the ancient ancestors of the sharks. One part of the family split to produce the bird-like manta rays, which flap through the sea using their huge pectoral fins as powerful wings. Like the sharks, the rays have no real bones in their bodies. Their skeletons consist entirely of cartilage, a plus for buoyancy and maneuverability in the great realms of the sea where they live. There are literally hundreds of kinds of skates and rays. Many are shy bottom dwellers. But others, like the spotted eagle ray, fly through open water in pursuit of their prey. Beautifully adapted to their way of life as the birds or bats of the deep, these kin of the sharks add their own contribution to the mystery and the magic of the sea. But intriguing as this wing of the family tree may be, nothing can compare with the wonder and awe men feel toward the sharks. Despite decades of study, the sharks remain, in many ways, an enigma. But the little that is known suggests that, for thousands of years, their kind has been tragically misunderstood, to their misfortune and our own. Our dread of sharks, at its deepest level, derives from their dietary preferences and the nagging suspicion that for many of them, we are part of the menu. But the fact is that fish make up most of the diet of the larger sharks, and even the notorious great white shark, which can swallow a sea turtle whole, spends most of its time in pursuit of its normal prey. Its favorites, big, slow-moving marine mammals like pilot whales, which are easy to catch and kill. This rarely filmed whale depends upon the shark, as the caribou depends on the wolf, to thin out the old and the weak, thereby maintaining the overall health of the species. Smaller sharks, like the blue, will attack a dolphin if they can. But unless the dolphin is old or injured, the sharks will pass it up for smaller and less agile prey. Sea otters, at home in the kelp beds along the California coast, must always keep a wary eye out for the blues, as well as the great whites, which occasionally cruise these waters. But life on the surface, where the otters spend most of their time, is relatively safe compared to life underwater. For marine mammals, like these harbor seals, the great white is a constant concern. And security for seals and their close relatives, the sea lions, often depends upon numbers. In throngs of hundreds, female stellar sea lions haul out in winter on a northwest Pacific shore. Easily panicked, the herd will scatter at the first hint of danger, and only the slowest to respond are likely to fall prey to a marauding great white shark. Even then, the shark does not kill indiscriminately. It carefully chooses its victim, and then it closes in. Divers who swim where the big sharks are common are in danger, though of the thousands of men and women worldwide who enjoy the sport, few have been attacked. Experts believe that most of the cases of shark attacks are the result of mistaken identity. A diver swimming among sea lions could be mistaken for the shark's usual prey, especially in conditions of poor visibility. From a shark's point of view as it prowls the depths, sea lions high above, swimming against the sun, may closely resemble, both in form and behavior, a diver in flippers and a wetsuit. The result, if the shark happens to be a hungry great white, could be fatal for the unsuspecting human. Fortunately, most of these encounters conclude without the diver ever knowing how close the call might have been. Today, belatedly, sharks are being studied in the wild in an effort to fill in the wide gaps in our knowledge of their behavior. Off the coast of Southern California, a team of divers sets out on a sparkling winter day en route to the Channel Islands about 20 miles offshore. The cage will offer refuge to the divers if the action underwater should get rough. The sharks are lured in with a chum basket filled with scraps of fish. And there is not long to wait. A big blue is the first taker. Blues are among the most common sharks in the sea, and because of this, they are convenient subjects to study. Wary of men, the shark approaches the bait with caution. It will eat only when it has tested the food by repeatedly feeling it with its mouth. As the shark eats, a membrane closes to cover its eye to protect it from splintered bones and scraps of food. Soon, sharks converge on the boat from miles of open sea, drawn by the taste of the fish oil and blood in the water, a combination which the hungry blues find irresistible. The divers have come not to kill sharks, nor to be killed by them, but to begin to understand some of the mysteries which swirl around these sleek and sinewy feeding machines. 15 feet below the surface, a metal cage separates men from sharks. A large great white, if it chose, could demolish the cage in seconds. But these are blues, dangerous but rarely deadly. Despite the security offered by the cage, each diver knows the fear that sharks arouse in us all. A full 2/3 of the shark's brain is devoted to sophisticated sensory systems. This shark may have been drawn to the ship's anchor chain by the minute electrical field that surrounds it. With unerring accuracy, sharks can zero in on their prey from miles away, employing powers that scientists wish they understood. As a precaution, a diver is outfitted with a steel mesh shark suit, good insurance when studying sharks close up. A modern variation on the armor of the medieval knight, the suit is designed to provide protection from all but the biggest sharks. Today, the shark suit will be put to a test where it counts, in the sea, with the sharks. The diver waits. The sharks are wary. A big blue investigates. Its posture, with pectoral fins relaxed, indicates that it is merely curious. And for the diver, the cage awaits if he needs it. The pectorals droop, the classic threat display. A fish is offered and declined. The shark is cautious. Then, from the blue infinity of the sea, a second shark moves in. He, too, declines the bait. Is this the man-eater of myth, unwilling to accept a fish from a diver's hand? Perhaps the myth must be revised. It seems the lure of food is not enough to overcome the fear the shark, man's arch enemy in the sea, feels toward the men. The conditions now seem safe to leave the cage, even without a shark suit for protection. The pectorals drop, and a blue signals threat. A cautious diver now, reading the shark's mood, would not let it out of his sight. An unloaded powerhead fends the shark away, and the camera itself serves for self-defense. The shark attacks, and its jaws lock upon the diver's arm. The diver is unhurt. The suit has passed the test. Now, for the others, caution seems to be the better part of courage. Again, the armor is put to the test, and the shark's legendary tenacity is tested. With the membrane of its eye shut tight for self-protection, the shark fights with all the power at its command. And though it's small, as blue sharks go, it puts up a heroic struggle. One shark is repulsed, but others wait. The sea, after all, belongs to them, and men are the intruders here. The contest ends without a victor or a loser, as man, until another day, returns to his domain, leaving the sea to the sharks, the lords of fear and wonder, the mysterious monarchs of the deep. They are the masters of an untamed world, a living threat to many of the creatures in the sea, and a source of awe and terror to mankind. Join us next time as we continue to explore the world beneath the sea on Dive to Adventure.